Everyone, Saturday night. Well, I can remember a time when Saturday nights were, well, a little different venue than they are these days. But how are y'all doing? Good to see you. Hope your day was good. Looks like we got, hi, Claudette. How you doing? Hope everything is good. Jerry, Tiffany, well, there's just a couple of us here, but I don't think that'll last long. So, Jill, how are you? Wasn't she great? I got to tell you what, Jill, I got a lot of great email on our program last night. People really resonated, and they really want to see you. Hi, Chris, how you doing? Don, Judith, good to see you. Well, we got about 40 of us in here. You know, I only had coffee for 200, so I'll figure out how we can get that app working, right? Hi, everyone. Mark, good to see you. Greetings and salutations. I love that. Yeah, you know, that's when we used to use English in a kinder, much gentler way. I love that. Greetings and salutations. It's the way to properly address a person with respect, and admiration. Just trying to get two words in one. I do that. So, impressive human. Hi, Sunday morning, sure. Well, that's good. Hi, Twilight. How you doing? Dawn, good to see you. Joanna, Manifested Muse, Seven Serpents. Hello. Well, looks like we're filling up here quick. Oh, great, Jill. Yeah, I am. Had a great time last night. You really did. In fact, it was amazing today. I spent a majority of the day reading, as I typically do, but was out as well. And want to give a case in point of how our society, how humans are changing. And I think I know why. I think many of us know why. There's some good research out there. They're manipulating us. As Jill was pointing out yesterday in the research, today, more on the Gwyn Towers, what they're doing to us. It's purposely how this division that we have, and it's, let me just tell you, if you look at statistics, if any of you have taken statistics in college, you know, this is not an ordinal value here. It in fact, it's so rare that where you can find a focus group that is literally split 50-50. And this is what we're seeing everywhere. And people are on edge, like on a razor edge. I was at a store today, and they're remodeling it, you know, updating, you know, the food places and everything else. They're doing major construction in there. And so things are a little disorientating. You're not going to find them where you typically are. I swear, I heard more people bitching about the fact that they couldn't find where things are at, or the aisles were too narrow, or there was just something. And as I was checking out, I did a little survey. And of about the dozen people that were checking out, I would say half of them were bitching. And the other half, like me, were just, hey, it was a scavenger hunt. It was fun. You know, it's like you get so in the routine. So anyway, it shows that something's up. Now, this program, I really didn't expect a lot of people in here, but we'll see what happens. I've been thinking about this rite of birth. As most of you know, we had an addition to the family, Lydia, who came into the world on Tuesday, and she's had a difficult time of it. In fact, we saw a picture today from the NICU, and you can tell that this precious life that is 5 days old, she is not liking this. Her consciousness is not liking this. Her little toes are just into a little ball. You can tell that she's in pain. You can tell that she is not enjoying this. Ever since we knew when she was coming, I've been thinking more and more about birth. We take it so for granted. You were born. We spend our whole lives trying to figure out what our path is. What is our purpose? Why are we here? Are we supposed to find God while we're here? Are we supposed to find spirituality while we're here? Are we supposed to find ascension while we're here? When you die, is it just lights out? Energy just dispenses that which you were, and there's no cohesion of thought. Is there, in fact, an afterlife where energy is actually materialized into another form of consciousness? I don't believe in the hell concept. It's false, but many people do. And this starts this division amongst us. But I think we have missed something. Now, I have studied, 40 years of my life of it, accepted Jesus into my heart when I was 12 years old, right at Camp Peniel. And, as I got into my 20s, I was really always more of a spiritual person. I was a spiritualist I think almost from the very beginning. So in my studies, I know I've learned a few things. Much I still don't know. But for the 100 of us, 12 of us that are here, I put together a little presentation, as I am known to do. So this presentation is titled The Rite of Passage. I don't think many of us really understand what the birth process is. It is a rite of passage. We don't look at it like that. And we should, because I think it's the thing that has been the biggest deception laid upon us. Now, whether we've done it to ourselves, whether there is something else, I'm about to show you, and this is my conjecture only, my opinion, but I researched today, and although we seem to be new on this, this is going to catch on. So each and every one of you listening to me right now have made the first rite of passage. You're here. And birth is a rite. Now, most people don't understand what the word rite means. And let's break down the word passage, the past age. Think about this. If every one of us that are in this chat room right now can begin to enlighten the next person in our circle of influence, I think this will be good to go somewhere. So here's a fact. There's only one way in. My nose is itching and everything else, so it tells me that we're really going to get into some high energy here. Any way you look at this, ladies and gentlemen, to be allowed into this realm of reality, you must go through the birth rite. And statistically, worldwide, 1 out of 6 do not make it in. I'm talking about an exclusive club. And any of you that have been haunted by demons, any of you that have been haunted by, you think of evil spirits, I'm about to show you, you are superior. You outrank them, you are superior to them, and you should not ever be afraid of any unseen force. And I'm going to show you why. So, let's make the definition of right. Amazes me how many people today, they are truly the 9-second generation. 9 seconds of information is all they get to form their basis of their reality. So we're going to take this methodically, and there may be only 3 left in the meeting at the end. I don't know. We don't care. All right. Rite. Number 1, a prescribed form or matter governing the words or actions for a ceremony. Okay. The ceremonial practices of a church or group of churches. A ceremonial act or action, initiation rites. A division of the Christian church using a distinctive liturgy. Let's continue. Definition of initiation rite. An act that someone must do in order to officially join a group or organization. I have been a member of a number of exclusive clubs in my life. Some much more secretive than others. I was a Boy Scout. Made it all the way up to Life Scout. Didn't quite make it to Eagle. Initiation rites. When you become a Christian, you are initiated. When you become a Muslim, you are initiated. Whatever your faith, whatever you profess your faith to be, there is an initiation rite attached to it. Otherwise, you're not part of it. Let's continue. Initiation. The act or an instance of initiating. The process of being initiated. The rites, ceremonies, ordeals, or instructions with which one is made a member of a sect or society or is invested with a particular function or status. Please comprehend what I'm saying to you. So many of you, you're smart. Well, listen, we're here for a purpose. And if there's only just us here, we're going to learn something. This is the downloads on this. I was driving today and I was aware of what I was doing. And when I am contemplating, I tend to put, it allows me to think. And I was at a stoplight and I looked over and it was a cop and his partner in there. And I looked over and they're both doing this. And they were both laughing, So one cop said to me, he says, deep thinker, eh? So it shows. All right. So the act of starting something, the beginning of something. This is so relevant to what we're going to be talking about, what we are talking about. The act of starting something, the beginning of something. Now, let's get into here in the definition here. The rite of passage is a ceremony of the passage which occurs when an individual leaves one group to enter another. Meditate, translate. When an individual leaves one group to enter another. It involves a significant change of status, in this case in society. In cultural anthropology, the term is an anglicization of the rite de passage, a French term invoked by the ethnographer Arnold van Gennep and his work, Les Rites de Passage, the rites of passage. The term is now fully adapted into the anthropology as well into the literature and popular cultures of many modern languages. Amazes me how we begin to understand things that have been right there in front of us. All right, the rites of passage have 3 phases: separation, eliminatory, and incorporation. Separation, limited, and then being incorporated. There's something here, folks. There had to have been, because it hasn't let me. I dream about this thing. So I said, listen, we got to get it out. All right. So when we look at religious behavior in ancient societies, we see rites of passages, initiation, rites of burial, sacrifice, sacred arts, art, and artifacts. So, rite of birth introduces the child to the world through a ritual and naming ceremony. It happens to all of us. Africans believe infants come from the spirit world. Now, I know that the Jewish culture believe that there is a hall of souls. And when the last soul leaves the hall, then that will be the end of time. Other cultures believe that you're reincarnated, that you have the same spirit but a different soul. Whatever that process is, this much we can establish and agree upon. It is a rite. This is significant. Now, I agree that it introduces the child to the world through a ritual and naming ceremony. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a name. I wouldn't have a name. Now, we've lost in the 21st century the cultural aspect of naming. Now, many religions, they still do it. Those who practice those rituals still partake in it, but by a whole, it's not done. So many children are born in America today out of wedlock that they have no connection to their parents. And when a child has no connection to their parents, they know this. That child most likely will be a psychopath, narcissistic, will end up probably becoming abusive, and be completely dislocated in any moral or any type of empathy for other humans. It's just a fact. Now, I happen to believe that we probably do come from the spirit world. I'm not so sure about reincarnation. I'll tell you why. The name is given that the elders figure out what its mission is in life. Now, I've got to tell you, I don't know parents today that take the time to bring their elders around them and discuss what is this precious spirit's mission in life. How do we begin to help this spirit to get the best advantage in the initiation rite it just went through? I don't see it anywhere. I think we've missed something. Laboratory experiments have shown that, give me a second here, I can't see this word because there we go, that severe initiations produce cognitive dissonance. It is theorized that such dissonance heightens groups' attraction among initiates after the experience. Think about when you go into a church and you accept Jesus. What do? They surround you. They start speaking the spell over you. It's a rite. You've been initiated. And the changes start taking place. Arising from internal justification of the effort used. You see, what we don't understand, you, me, we are a life force. The birthright tries to take it from us. You doubt me? Try to go through the birth canal. It'll kill you. Because it literally kills us, literally, all of us. And I know that we'll talk about the C-sections later, but for the most part, this is the passage. And so it takes a great deal of effort. So does belief. Faith takes a great deal of effort, a lot of focus. All right, let's continue. Rewards during initiations have important consequences in that initiates who feel more rewarded express stronger group identity, as well as group attraction. Initiations can also produce conformity among new members. Psychology experiments have also shown that initiations increase feelings of affiliations. So let's take this now from the birth process. We're coming out of something into this reality, this plane of existence that has contracts, it has laws. And birth is a rite of passage, not an R-I-G-H-T. You're not entitled to a damn thing in this life. These millennials and the younger ones need to get this understood. Life doesn't owe you anything. Never has. And if you go around with this entitlement attitude that you think it's owed to you, cupcake, you're going to have a very rough time of it, as most of them are. You know why they're leaving the Christian church? You know why they're leaving religions? Because they can't handle the commitment. They like the initial rush, the immediacy of the gratification of the feeling. But once it lingers and goes, so do they. Let's continue. Initiation is a rite of passage marking entrance or acceptance into a group or society. It could also be a formal admission to adulthood in a community or one of its formal components. In an extended sense, it can also signify a transformation in which the initiate is reborn into a new role. Examples of initiation ceremonies might include Hindu diska, Christian baptism or confirmations, Jewish bar or bat mitzvahs, acceptance into fraternal organizations, secret societies, or religious orders, or graduation from school, or in recruit training. A person taking the initiation ceremony in traditional rites, such as those depicted in these pictures, is called an initiate. Now, this is why, when people lie on their resumes that they have degrees, but they never finished school, because the person who does have the diploma, it diminishes what they had to sacrifice through the initiation process. We have a lot that try to cheat the process. Let's continue. A spiritual initiation rite normally implies the shepherding process, where those who are at a higher level guide the initiate through a process of greater exposure of knowledge. This may include the revelation of secrets, hence the term secret society, for such organizations, usually reserved for those at a higher level of understanding. One famous historical example is the Elysium mysteries of the ancient Greece, though thought to go back to at least the Messianian period or the Bronze Age. If you do your study on rites, been here a long, long time. The next installment of Baal is going to show you how the cult of Bacchus and others prior to this have been here. All right, let's continue. In the context of ritual magic and esotericism, the initiation is considered to cause a fundamental process of change to begin within the person's being initiated, and its evolution operates within both the material world and the spiritual world. The person conducting the initiation, the initiator, being in possession of a certain power or state of being, transfers this power or state to the person being initiated. There's a transference that takes place here. Same thing at birth. Thus, the concept of initiation is similar to that of the apostolic succession. The initiation process is often likened to the simultaneous death and rebirth, because as well as being a beginning, it also implies an ending, as existence on one level drops away in an ascension to the next. Initiation is a key component of Judaism, Vaishnavism, Satmat, Surat, Shabbat, Yoga, Wicca, and similar religious Gnostic traditions. It denotes the acceptance by the guru and also implies that the student or disciple agrees to the requirements, such as living an ethical lifestyle, meditating, etc., etc. Sounding familiar? Feel like an old pair of shoes? Yeah. Should. So we get all, I tell you, you see separations, you see divisions, schisms. We'll get into that here in a little bit. But the fact of the matter is that when you look at this ascension process, we get so much into this spiritual thing that we seem to forget the rite we went through to get here. 40 plus years of going to churches and hearing the pulpit message. Never heard about the rite of passage. And when you look at what we're supposed to have in the stages of our spiritual and physical evolution, it can get damn confusing. I mean, seriously. Birth, gift of immortality and magic. I'm going to say it again. Each and every one of us were given the gift of immortality. You are already eternal. You don't have to work for it. You don't have to try to get to it. You don't have to be good enough. You don't have to repent. You're already immortal. And you were given everything you needed. Magic. So we go along the process, puberty, preparation for life. I meet a lot of adults that are still in puberty, mentally, and I think other ways. But anyway, sexual initiation, the touch of passion. Don't we all feel that? You know, I could tell the exploits in this, but we've all expressed it. Separation from the feminine, the first threshold. You know, a decade ago, I wouldn't have understood that. I do now. Alliance with the masculine, the father quest. Realization of betrayal, the myth of success. I have lived this. I know this intimately. All of you are out there that have sold your soul for success, climbing the corporate ladder, trying to close the biggest deal. You're chasing the wind. You're going to get burnt, because I can tell you, the human soul cannot be satisfied. Get used to this. There is no such thing as satisfaction. It's elusive to us. Our species, we can't grasp it. It's air to us. Mid-birth, a spiritual birth into our power. Most people I know have missed this one. Reconnection into the feminine, finding the lotus pieces of self, the lost pieces, excuse me. I'm looking at this and not up my screen. That Initiation into the truth, exposing the mystery of self-deception. You see, I contend this. People say, Wayne, you're deceived. Listen, I hear it. I mean, I guess I've lost over 500 subscribers because they seem to think I'm a false prophet. What they don't know is that I love the unimaginable infinite being more than what they could ever understand. And the thing that I have found most is that most of us have, by the time you're 30 years old, you have self-deceived yourself in so many ways. And if you make it to 60, you start spending the time to strip those away, maybe younger. Atonement, forgiving the sins of sun and moon. Well, that's a different thought. Because you see right there, you have to acknowledge, well, what's the sun and the moon? Spiritual elderhood, master and mistress of two worlds. I think I understand that. The last, beyond reality. The final passage. What's that? Death? The final passage? Whoa, what are we talking about here? How can there be a God who never passed the birthright? I'm asking a question. Why do we struggle with spirituality when it is the God or the gods that should show us that they can pass the rite of birth passage of the physical and the flesh? We got it backwards. I see so many people desperately trying to appease God. Show me any God that has gone through the birth process, then they're equal. Until then, I'm more superior, so are you. You've done something they can't. And then if you buy the myth of the garden, Adam and Eve, that God created Adam, who was a black man, okay, and that somehow this guy screwed up, well, here's the game changer. They don't teach you this. The minute the feminine, the female, gave birth, it changed all the rules. You cannot ascend your authority when you have not passed the rite of initiation. Plain and simple. Show me a God, any God, who has gone through the rite of birth passage, then I'll listen. The final rites. Each and every one of us will face this. Why is it that we call it the final rites? Did any of you understand the first rites? I asked the question. Did any of you fully understand the first rites? Because you're going to be, depending on what your faith, religion, administered, given the final rites. And it's not right, it's rites. What are you being initiated into now? All cultures around the world have a rite of passage. Title it The Last Rites. Ask many a soldier on the battlefield, they'll tell you. Many soldiers will wait for the last rites. One thing I do know, there's a diploma waiting for us at the end of this. Each and every one of us who have made it through the initiation, the process, the rite of passage. So there you go. Let me get out of this, please. There we go. So I'm back. So there you go, folks. And you know, I've studied, and studied. Right now, my office is literally surrounded by history books, sacred books, interpretation of the sacred books, writing on the books of the books, books of being written on the books that have been written on the books. I've known a lot of people. I knew Tim LaHaye personally. Spoke with him many times. You know who Tim LaHaye is? Well, he was the one who wrote the Left Behind series. This rite of birth, we're not thinking about this. And I just want to share a few thoughts here. I have people that write me many times that said they're tormented by demons. They see evil spirits. What I'm telling you is to challenge them. Challenge them to show you, if they so manifest before you, that they have passed the rite of initiation. If they haven't, they're not superior to you. You are superior to anything in the spiritual realm. I know that's backwards. But the fact of the matter is, the spiritual realm hasn't gone through the rite of passage. I don't know what waits on the other side. I don't think that this is this reincarnation, this recycling thing. It doesn't make any sense. Otherwise, the rite of passage of birth and the rite of passage of death is meaningless. It's just because it carries nothing. And I still contend we're here. We've done something the spirit realm hasn't done. And in my book, unless you are going to judge me on a fair, even field, mano a mano, one-on-one, you can't judge me to a standard that I don't know about or I haven't participated in. It'd be illegal. And so I'm telling you, all of the people that are out there and whoever listens to this, that if you're tormented by so-called demons or evil spirits, challenge them. They have not made the rite of passage of birth. And I challenge anyone out there. I'll give you full access to this channel if you want to counter this. You tell me how reading the so-called Bible, I mean, in which Bible? You know, I had this Bible, and then they say, oh, no, that Bible's wrong. Then you had to get this Bible because it wasn't properly. And then you have to go and get this freaking Bible because you know what? It's not right. It's a problem with dealing with ancient scriptures you have no foundation of, you have no association with, and no knowledge of. And then you apply a ritual to something that you have no kin to. And you want to know why you're confused? It's because it's confusion from the very beginning. And I'm fed up with it. My wife is director of nursing in a place where people go to die. So I have a little bit better perspective than probably most of you do. If you're given last rites, then what the hell are the first rites? What right have we been denied? What right has religion, politics, society, civilization itself taken from us that we don't know about? We damn sure know what the last rites are. You know, I'm asking the question. You're an intelligent group of men and women. You've gone to school. You have families. You think rationally. I'm asking, do you know what the first rites are? Because if you do, let me know. I'll post them. Because I don't. But I'm getting a sense that it is so meaningful, so powerful. Because either we are beings of divinity, or when we die, it's all over, folks. Lights out. You don't have no memory. As your body disintegrates, so does your consciousness. I can tell you what happens on a cellular level, how the cells begin, the synaptic pathways begin to break down, and you slowly lose consciousness. Now, if we are in fact ascending, then I want to know what the first rites are. What is my right coming into this physical plane? The birth process damn near kills us. It takes the average infant over 30 days to recover from the initiation of birth. It's so traumatic that none of us remember it. But it's very obvious that we're aware of it. Now, question I have, are we conscious of the passage? I think we are. Because it waits at the very end with the last rites. Heavy subject, I know. So, maybe a short one tonight, folks, because I don't know if many people can appreciate this. Sometimes I think that, I ought to keep my mouth shut, but that will never happen. So, just to finish out here, again, show me a God that has gone through the birth process. Even if he, she, it created life, then in order to properly be able to stand in the same experience, you can't judge a person. It's akin to you judging someone on job performance. Let's say that is a Top Gun pilot, flies an F-35. Now they're going to give you what's required. You're not going to have a clue as to whether the guy's doing right or wrong. My question is, show me a God that has gone through the birth canal of a human female. Now we can start talking equally. And let me just see how his sorry ass makes it to the very end. Because then we can meet one-on-one. Until then, keep your mouth shut. If you want to enlighten me with spiritual knowledge, fine. But I'm telling you, the time of being condemned by unseen gods, trying to appease gods that has never gone through the birthright passage, is ridiculous. And so all the ones of you that are dealing with evil spirits, you are more powerful. You've gone through the rite of birth. An angel cannot contend with you or me. They have not gone through the rite of birth. Therefore, I am superior. All right. There you go, folks. Yeah, want to know where I stand on this? And I'm right now I'm reading about, I don't know, 6 different books. And I marvel. I have a person who is a member of the royal family. Her and I write very often, and she is a wonderful, wonderful person. And by learning things about her perspective from the royal family's point of view, I've learned a lot of things. A lot of things I'm not going to talk about here. A lot of people can learn the word discretion. If you want to have friends and people who trust you, learn to keep your mouth shut. And you'll have people tell you things, and it'll be to your betterment because it allows you to have a balanced view of things. All right. I appreciate every one of you. Thank you for taking the time on a Saturday night to come hear me. And I'm very passionate about this. I love my species. And I'm so tired of the religious rhetoric that I see coming from people. Do you know how many people feel that murder, when commanded by God, is acceptable? And that somehow it's righteous? I see the violence out in the world now. It's worse. I lived on the streets, but I can tell you, when I lived on the streets, I was never in fear of my life. I mean, people that I was around, we would take hits of LSD at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, walking through neighborhoods where we lived and never feared anything. Feared the cops. But, hey, it's only when you do something wrong do you fear about that. And it just seems like you're going to be attracted. But when I see the needless division in people, I'd like to tell every politician, stop it. Every Democrat, from Pelosi to Schumer to every Republican, from Ron Paul, the rest of them, stop it. Stop spreading the hate. But these Gwyn Towers, because now we have this incredible thing, it's almost impossible. I don't know. I shed a lot of tears for our race. But anyway, maybe through all the madness, we can help change people. Maybe one person at a time. And I'm going to continue to pursue this. I think that there is something to this. And if anyone knows what the rites are, I want to know. Because I think if we can figure that out, I think we just figured out what is the cause of the woes of mankind. Imagine if every person born realized that they were born into an initiation of a very, very exclusive club. A very exclusive club that puts them above even the spiritual gods of the conception of man. How do you say that there's right or wrong in that? How can you come back to me and say, Wayne, you can't do this because God said it was wrong, or you can't say this because it's in this holy book? Says who? Who made that rule? Well, I've seen enough people killed in the name of gods, my God, we could fill an ocean full of the blood that has been sacrificed because of that. Now, there has to be laws, but you don't need religion to determine what laws are. Common sense will do that. Now, there's consequences. You defy the law of gravity, depending on how bad you defy it, can kill you. You defy the law of electricity, it can kill you. You defy the law of inertia, it can kill you. So anyway, well, yeah, ended up taking almost an hour of your time anyway. So, hey, folks, this is really where philosophy comes in, because it's only within philosophy can the true questions be deliberated. Because once you bring in science or religion, you've contaminated the conversation. You can bring in the sources of each, but you can't bring in the dogmas of each. I mean, science is a religion in itself. I think truly the philosophers of this world are the ones that can stand back and at least look at it objectively. And I say, I want to see more conversation. I think the great metaphysical community needs to ask this question. I think the great philosophers need to begin to ask this question. What are our birthrights? And who has absconded with them? Listen, there's only one way in. You can't sneak your way in on this. I think there's many imposters that have come in on this. And I think they walk among us and have. And I'm telling you, they're stealing something from us. Well, anyway, appreciate all of you. This is what I'll have to say to even myself.
Relax, calm down now. Don't stress. Take it easy.
Okay, that's what we're going to do. It's good. I wish that we could all just get together and have a really open dialogue conversation, because I'd love to hear what a lot of your comments are. I can see the scroll bar going over there, but I can't read them because I'll go back. But email me with your thoughts. This is a question we've got to ponder, because I think it's so, once I think the answer is known, that answer will solve all the dilemma of all the religions, all the questions of the philosophers, and aid us in the sciences of what knowledge we have yet to discover. I think it is, in fact, the dogmas of our limitations of the past ages that has suppressed us in the ability to ascend in thought, free thought, where people like Dr. Claudia Albers can have the opportunity to explore freedom of thought without persecution, where I can come forth and not be told that I'm going to hell, or, learned how to read your Bible. And I'm going, really? Hey, listen, if any of you want to come and debate me on Bible, bring it on. Come at me, bro. I've put the challenge out there. I've asked the question, is God a Christian? Do you know they won't answer that question? You know why they won't answer that question? Because the minute they do, then they realize that their doubts were in fact true. Hell of a thing, isn't it? And I tell you what. Hey, big hug to all of you folks. We'll definitely see you Monday night. And hey, I appreciate you. You're all beautiful souls and spirits. I don't even know if we have a soul. I'm convinced we got a spirit. If the soul is the consciousness, then how can you have different consciousness? I don't know. I know this. We're all going to find out one way or another. All I got to say is, when that moment is, I'm going to say, yeehaw, because it's been one trip. I have to really strain. There's the Grateful Dead saying on Truckin', what a strange trip it's been. And I hope to come out in the end with my diploma and say, hey, all you pukes, I made it. I think we are. I really do. I mean, we got to get a reward for something just to going through this maze. I mean, because seriously, you know? All right. Most likely see you tomorrow. Be good to yourselves. Have yourself a good evening and be kind to yourself. Learn to love yourself. Maybe that's the right, that we were given, number one, the gift of immortality. Now I can dig an unimaginable infinite being doing that for me. I mean, dude, do that or dude it. That's someone I'd like to be next to. It's like, thanks. But the magic, maybe that's what others, they, it, I don't know, those in power want to keep from us. Maybe J. Rollins had it right. Maybe there's a Harry Potter in all of us looking to get out. We all cast spells and incantations every day. Maybe it is that magic. All right, folks, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.